Hey there, it's Kimberly here with Knit for Brains, and today's episode is all about yarn dump. These are some new, really cool skeins that I found in my stash, and I thought, you know what? We're not buying new yarn, we're going to check out some of the old stuff, so stay tuned for this episode. Hey there, it's Kimberly here with Knit for Brains. Welcome to my podcast. So, I realized you guys haven't seen this corner of my world in a little while. In a few minutes. I've been sitting over in my workspace and I thought, you know what? I want to spend more time in my little cocoon over here with the light. The way that I had this place set up with my little craft light here is so conducive. And so I thought, you know what? I need to spend more time over here. So welcome to my corner. And just wanted to kind of, tell you about what's going on. And first of all, I gotta show you how the mix and match blanket turned out. So come with me downstairs and let's take a look. So yay, here it is. I'm really, really happy with the way this turned out. I actually blocked it last night and I didn't have a space big enough inside the house, so I had to take this outside just to block it, but it fared, oh well, we don't have, too many critters and bugs out here. But this is that mix and match. You can see how I have the yellows, and then I brought in the different grays coming into the whites. So I went whiter, like lighter here, and then I went out that way with it. I think it's got really good symmetry. It's got some really interesting patterns here. We've got the alpine stitch here, we got the wavy for days, we've got the bobbles, we've got the ripple. This is just your basic double crochet back stitch only, back loop only. We got a basket stitch here, the Jacob's ladder. We've done tutorials on both of these. This was a ripple stitch. So I had something else planned for this, but I wanted to pull some more yellow in. And I just came up with this idea. And they had something very similar in the book. I love that it brought in some really cool texture and that it really started to combine some of the colors. So this was just a single crochet, I'm pretty sure. But then what I did was, so I did this in groups of 5, 10, 12, so like 33, I think is what it was. So I did a group of 5, I would skip a stitch, do a group of 4, skip a stitch, group of 4, skip a stitch, group of 4, skip a stitch, and then 5. And the skip a stitch, so then what you do is you go into those holes on your subsequent rows and you basically just build a single crochet all the way down. So you have this kind of just like a regular single crochet as a line. And then as you come back down, you put in, for each one of those stitches, I would put in 2 single crochets, which means that you've got like twice as many, and that's how you get this really cool ripple effect. Now, of course, if you wanted to, you could even do 3 and really get a good deep ripple effect. But I love how it gives it this texture, because most of these other areas had texture. This has texture, the blanket stitch has texture. This one didn't. This one has a little bit of texture, definite texture, and not. So I just wanted to bring in some depth, but I just love how it's got this really cool nubby feel. So I blocked it last night. Now I used an acrylic, and with an acrylic yarn, you don't have to block quite as much. With the fibers, with the natural fibers, they kind of open up. With the acrylic, with the fake fibers, if you will, you don't have to do it quite as much. So I basically laid it all out, pinned it down the way I wanted it, and then I just misted it. I didn't actually do the whole big wet thing. I just misted it and then pulled it out. And because some of the stitches were just different in texture and denseness, I guess is a good way to say it. When I put it together, well, all the places, all the strips matched in length. Some of them, because of the density of the stitch, it made it a little bit, out of stretch. So by blocking it, it brings everything into play. And if you haven't blocked something before, it's just it just makes your product or your end result look a lot more just professional. It straightens out the ripply edges. It kind of just trains the fabric into what you want it to do. So these blocks, blockers I got from Knitter's Pride, and they're great, but I would recommend definitely, getting yourself a nice set of blocking little pins, if you will. So I'm just going to take this apart here, show you what it looks like. Now, as far as my blocking pads, they can be surprisingly expensive. I'm not really sure what the deal is, but they can be. And so what I did was, I do have a set of blocking pads that I've purchased, and I did a whole video on blocking. So if you're interested more in that, I'll include the link here in this segment. But what I did, so I do have a set of the smaller blocking pads, which are these guys over here. And like I said, they're kind of expensive. So I got those, but then the other ones I found at the dollar store. So this was my dollar store hack. Pull that guy out there, putting these guys away. You know what, I guess I can do this, just to keep them all nice and neat. So any type of foam matting is going to be pretty much fine for your blocking. You just need to have something that the pins will stick into. So these are actual blocking cubes. These are by Knit Pick, and you can see it has the scoring on it. So you can make sure, you want to make sure that everything is nice and straight. So you want to make sure that your edges are really straight. So you can use these grids if you want to, or then just make sure that they line up properly. But those were pretty expensive. So once I figured out what I really needed, then I just went to my local dollar store and I found these mats. And I think I probably paid $10 for the whole set of them, whereas I think I paid like $30 or even more for these 4 little pieces here. And they were just mats that you would use for like if your kids were playing, and you wanted to have a little bit of a soft surface, or working out mats at home. That's what these were used for. And they were just as good as the expensive stuff. So this is what I'm talking about here. They're a lot bigger, which is actually great because these guys are obviously pretty tiny, so you need to have quite a few of them. But these other ones I just got, like I said, at the dollar store. So I highly, highly recommend that you get yourself some of those. Let's pull out the rest of these. Just get this little puppy off. Doesn't take long to do blocking, but it's one of those things that you just can tell the difference. And if you put so much work into a project, you just want to block it, for heaven's sakes. You just want to do that last mile, and it just makes such a huge difference. All right, so we're just pulling this guy all the way out. Make sure you don't snag your yarn. You just want to make sure when you are blocking that your little pins don't snag your yarn. And you just want to, like I said, put it out somewhere, let it air dry, and let it do its thing. And the before and the after, I showed you guys last week what this looked like before it was totally finished. So stitching it up, I just did a super basic whip stitch to bring it together. And then just did this little bit of blocking here. And I put you there. There we go. All right. Are we done? Did we miss one? No, we got it. All right. Just gonna pick this baby up here. You can see, here's what the back looks like. So this is where I did that ripple stitch. You can just see just a single crochet all along the back side here. Gonna pick it up, shake it out a little bit, getting a little fleegee off of it. And, oh, love this. Love how it turned out. So happy to be giving this as a gift. I'm just loving this. All right, so before we go back up into the babe cave, I wanted to show you the other blanket that I have just about finished. This one is for my son. This is a movie clapper. And yes, this is my black box project. It's a little insane, but I'm liking how it's turning out. It's almost done, so I just have to finish my last panels, which is the actual clapper here at the top. So it's basically going to go across the top in this chevron pattern, like so. And it's going to go all the way across the top, black, white, black, white, black, white, and then it's going to end with the black over here. So I read somewhere that if you like someone, you will crochet something for them. If you love them, you will crochet it out of black yarn. A truer statement probably has not been spoken. Black yarn is, I think, everyone's nemesis. Anyone who has ever crocheted with black yarn will completely understand what I'm talking about. This is my daytime project. I can't do this at night because I can't see the silly stitches. However, I'm very, very happy to say that this will be, in fact, done in time to give as a gift for the holidays. So I'm very happy about that. I'll show you guys the finished product before it goes to its new home. Oh man, can I just tell you how happy I am how that turned out. And it was really so much fun to make because you're doing those strips. I didn't end up getting bored with any one particular stitch or one particular color. So I really, really enjoy it. Now it says that you can use it as a scrap cal. I was doing the math. I think I ended up using, because I did, I think 10 strips. I ended up using about 15, 18 skeins, maybe 20 of this guy, the Lions brand. Each skein has 372 yards. It's a big blanket and it's heavy. You know, I've talked about this yarn for a long time. I really, really love it. I think for Afghans, it's perfect. Some people make sweaters out of it, and that's fine. I mean, it's a very economical yarn to play around with, but for blankets, it just has this really yummy kind of like weight to it that I really enjoyed working with, but as a blanket, it's just got some really nice feel and weight to it. So I'm really excited about it. So again, this is that Schitt's Creek by Lions brand, and it seems to always be on sale. So I would check it out. Go over to lionsbrand.com. They just did a sale where I think I got 3 skeins for $12. So I have a lot left in my you know, stash, which has grown. So now I'm thinking about what's going to come up in 2024. And as you know, we're going to be doing some knitting here as well as some crochet. So I thought, you know what, I've got these beautiful yarns, and you guys have even seen me unbox these yarns. So I thought, rather than go ahead and get more stuff, I need to see what I've got and kind of purge through my stash. I have some gorgeous, gorgeous yarns and finish up some projects. So I wanted to show you what I'm going to be finishing up. First and foremost, everyone's like, what's happening with your Starry Nights cowl? And here it is. It's not actually a cowl, it's a shawl. I love it so much. As you know, I'm actually going to make this bigger. So this is what it is right here. And this again is just, it's assigned pooling. We've talked about that. I think it's going to be okay. But what I wanted was the sparkle, which is what I'm using here. And they didn't have any more sparkle. So I got the non-sparkle. I'm like, ooh, is this going to be a problem? I hope not. But what I think I'm going to do is I got 2 more skeins. So I might put 1 skein at the base and then 1 skein at the top, and then it'll kind of look like it's a little bit balanced. Stay tuned for that. This, hopefully it wasn't a mistake on my part. But this is the assigned pooling Starry Nights yarn by Purple Lamb Fibers. So I got 2 more skeins of this guy. All right, so that's this guy. So we're gonna put that in here in my little stash bag here. My little stash bag that I can just pick up and carry with me. So I started looking at some of my my stuff in my stash. And this Katya is relatively new in my stash. As a matter of fact, I think when I was on the cruise ship, they were having a sale and I was like, you know, I've never used this yarn. So I bought it and I got 4 balls of it. They're pretty big balls, and I think there was a sale if you bought 4, the price of 3. I don't know what it was because I'm all about the sales. But this is 53% wool and 47% acrylic. And I saw this picture, and you probably can't see it. I'll have to do a better picture, floating around the internet of this sweater. And if you guys can see it right there. So I couldn't find a pattern, but I had to do some digging around, and I at least got the picture. And what it is you start out with this Katya yarn, and it was different colors, but it was this yarn. And you do a big granny square on the back, big granny square on the front, 2 granny squares on the sides, and then you finish out the rest with just some regular yarn, like a solid color. So you can see the contrast there in that picture. So This is going to be my next project starting in January. So I got the 4 skeins that I needed for the granny squares. And then I went to lovecraft.com, which is a great site for yarn. So when that shows up, we'll be doing that unboxing. Lovecraft is actually based out of the UK. So if you're one of my peeps who don't live in the US, you should be able to get your yarns from Lovecraft. And I love them. So if you haven't seen them before, when I do that unboxing, which should be here in just a couple days, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But like I said, they're based out of the UK, so you can change it from pounds to whatever denomination that you work through. But they did have a really nice yarn that's going to go really, really well with this. It's kind of a sagey green color, which I thought would be almost like a heather green, which I thought would be really nice to go with, because there's a lot of that. It's kind of this color right in there. So bringing that in with the rest of these, I think it's going to be really, really cool. So I'm excited about that. And it's not the Azteca, it's not by Katia, but the fiber content, the wool and the acrylic is the same. I think this is like, what did I say, 53 and 47%, and it's like 50 and 50 or 48 or something like that, but really, really close. Same weight. So you want to make sure that if you are mixing brands and things like that, you get the same weight, and try to stay with the same mixture of fiber, so your end product is going to be the same. You don't want to be mixing in acrylic with your wools or your cottons, and you really want to make sure that the fabric is all going to kind of work together in the same way. So you want to make sure your fiber content is about the same. So that's going to be this guy here. I just, I keep showing you yarn and then I just move it through, but these are my starting projects for 2024. The other thing that I found in my stash, and honestly, I might have got this in Italy. I might have got this from one of my local yarn stores. I don't remember. I should write this stuff down. I probably should write it down. But I love this. It's called Silky Wool, and it's made in Italy. It is 45% wool and 35% silk and 20% nylon. It's got this really beautiful nubby going on, and I just love this. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing with this. It's not a sock weight. It is, I'm going to say it's probably a 3, if you guys can take a look at that. So I'm going to mix this in with, actually, I'm going to be mixing this in probably with like another 3 and maybe doing some kind of a cowl or a scarf. But I have 4 skeins of this. Sloppy. Don't do this. Do as I say, not as I do. Do not let your yarn run away. It was trying to, run away from home. This is bad. Don't let it get like this. Spin it, wind it, bind it, whatever you need to do before it gets like that. Because this is going to be some serious yarn barf if I'm not careful. So this was very, 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 very bad on my part. Very sloppy on my part. It should look like this. Or when you're all done, it should look like this, but not like this. So I'm going to be spinning this here in the next week or so, figuring out what I'm going to do with that. Alrighty. I'm looking at all. So I had this big basket over here. And when I got back from my trip, there was boxes of yarn, and it makes me feel very squirrely and very anxious when things aren't organized. And I'm looking around here right now. I'm like, it's not very organized, but it's definitely better than it was. So as I was cleaning out all these boxes over here, I thought, you know what? Let's stop buying the yarn. Or if we are going to buy yarn, let's buy it for something that we already have going on over here. Thus, I found this stuff, which is beautiful. Love it. It's a really nice, luxurious yarn. Why I didn't do something with it, I don't know. It doesn't have a lot of yardage. It's got 175 meters. So, I probably have 800 here. Enough to do something like a nice scarf, a nice cowl, or mix it in with something else and maybe make it a little bit bigger. So we'll see. That's what's going to happen with this one. As you know, I have my knit kit. This is going to be the first thing that we're going to start with. And we're going to be checking out some of the new knit stitches and things. I'm really excited, by the way. I can't give you all the details, but a company reached out to me and said, would you be interested in trying out some of our kits? And I said, Actually, I didn't even say, I said, okay. And so I'm waiting for the final details on that. But I'm going to be bringing some really interesting, fun stuff in from this other company that I can't tell you about right now, but I will tell you soon. So I'm probably going to be starting with this guy in the new year, or maybe right after Christmas, because all of my projects are going to be done, and I can't wait to dive in to something new and smaller than an Afghan. Smaller than an Afghan. This guy here was my COVID Afghan, which I love. I needed some bright poppy colors in my world. I started this before COVID, but I finished it at the beginning of COVID thinking, oh, we got a couple weeks. Who knew it was going to be as long as it was? But Afghans are like a commitment, you know, even though this was done in squares, and you made a bunch of the squares. So that was kind of nice because like you made all the flowers together and then all the other things together, and the colors were just like poof, an explosion in your face, right? But I want to get some nice, fast, gratifying projects done, give myself a little bit of a break from the Afghan world, and then I'll probably jump right back into it. Look what else I found in my stash. What was I thinking when I bought this? I don't know. This is a Knit Picks, a loft. They still make it. This color is called Koi. Love it. And this is a lace weight Super Kid mohair, 72%, 28% silk, 260 yards per ball. And I found this whole bag in my stash. There's 8. This is going to be, I think it might be a sweater. I've seen scarves, but I think I could probably make a really nice loose sweater. Probably going to be knit. I might hate myself. You guys might have to draw me back in because I might be like, what was I thinking? But I'm going to just give it my all. So 2024 is going to be the year of crochet and knit. And I am excited about the prospects of this. I'm really excited about the prospects of this. I wanted to show you the Afghans that I finished. Very excited about that. And that I just was, cleaning through my stash. And lo and behold, I find some gorgeous yarns. So we're going to be grabbing some of the old stuff and, whipping it into something beautiful and new. I'm excited about the challenge. I am excited about 2024. I'm so excited about 2024. What it's going to bring and what it's going to look like. For those of you that did not watch my crochet along, that was totally fine. We did the baubles and the garland. And I said I was going to do a tutorial on this. And the reason I'm saying if you didn't watch it, you wouldn't have known. But I said I was going to do a tutorial on this. And I had a heart-to-heart with myself and reading some of the comments from you all and just knowing people in my own life. And I realized, you know what? This is not always a good time of year for a lot of people. It's not even a good time of year for me usually. I mean, and some people for whatever reasons, my son's girlfriend is Jewish. A lot of my dearest friends have, are other religious denominations that don't celebrate. And I thought, you know what? There's enough Christmas out there. There's enough holiday stuff out there that I don't need to put myself into that world. And so I did the little garment and I thought, I'm not going to go into a tutorial on this. I did include the pattern in the crochet along cowl. So if you are interested in this, it's just a really easy crocheted stocking. The pattern is in that video and I will include it at the end of this one if you want to go ahead and take a look at it. Very simple pattern, really fun, really cute, but we're not going to do it here. So I just wanted to let you know if you're wondering where that was. That's where that was. And I also want you all to recognize, and hopefully you do, that I do pay attention to your comments, to what you say, to your feedback. There's been a couple of you that said, try this angle with the camera, or I don't celebrate Christmas, or whatever it is. And so your comments really help me to make this environment, this world that I'm creating, something that we can all really enjoy. So I want to just thank you and tell you how much I appreciate your feedback and that I find it useful. And I do make changes based on what you tell me, if it's at all possible. So I thought that was a really good lesson that we all learned here is, talk to me, give me some feedback. And the feedback that I'm getting from you is beautiful and it's wonderful. And so I just wanted to thank you for that. So this is Kimberly with Knit for Brains, just kind of a yarn dump, if you will, showing you those finished products. I'll show you the clapperboard when it's all done. Should be done this week. And then we're diving into some really fun, exciting, yummy gratifying projects. I'm going to be sitting right here in this space doing my thing, and I want you to be here right here with me. So again, this is Kimberly with Knit for Brains. Make sure you hit those notification bells. We're doing these podcasts, and we're doing a podcast every Wednesday. We're doing tutorials every Thursday. We're going to be bringing in reviews and other products, and I might even be adding in a live. So stay tuned for that. Tell your friends about us. Send everybody over. Our numbers keep growing, and I am so excited. Thanks so much for watching. This is Kimberly with Knit for Brains, and as always, I'll see you soon.